All right, sound is up, and
We're live.
we're live.
We're live. We're live. We're live. Live after death. No. All right. So actually, that's very true. Live after death. I'm going to tell you why. Well, let's start off the show by welcoming everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Monday Night Monster Jam. I'm here with Sam Catarasano.
What's up, everybody?
Who makes this show run and be so badass as it is. Thank you, Sam, for always hanging out with us and doing that, because what will we do without him? We can't. There's no way. Cannot do the show without Sam. He is a super key element to the show. So, quick thank you to Sam. I'm going to start off the show real quick with shouting out a birthday, a special one, to a buddy of mine, Monty Ward. Happy birthday, buddy. Love you. You've been a long time buddy and friend of mine. Happy birthday from the family, from Melissa, Amelia, Avon, Charming, our turtles, everybody. Happy birthday. So there you go. Hope you had a good day today, and hope it went well. And miss you. We'll have to come hang out sometime. All right. So really quickly, that, and then I'm going to tell you why live after death and what that means. So after last week's show, which was on Labor Day. What am I thinking? Memorial Day. Labor Day.
Labor Day. Yep.
Wow. Man, got my days wrong. So on Labor Day, Sam and I were here doing the show.
Mhm.
Everything went smooth. I was very tired. And I thought it was because, well, we did a hike with my wife, really major hike, really fun. But I was really tired. And after the show, I woke up the next day feeling very off and weird. And I was like, what the hell? And, had a sore throat and stuff. I thought, oh, maybe it's from talking on the show, blah, 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 blah. The day went on and it got worse. And then by Wednesday, I was pretty much sick and flu.
No.
Flu, man.
No.
Yeah. So I caught the bad boy. It wasn't COVID. I tested for COVID several times. Nope, no COVID. Just the standard old flu. But I haven't been sick in 3 years or something. So it hit me hard. Put me in bed for several days. Luckily, I have an amazing wife that took care of me. Thank you to Melissa for all the help, taking care of the kids and taking care of the house. And working her butt off. Yeah, she's amazing. So couldn't do it without her. And I was down and out like a little baby, like a wimp. And it's true. Men are the biggest wimps when it comes to sickness. And women are like superheroes. They it doesn't, it's like they're just up. They got to do what they got to do. And men are in babies like, I'm sick.
Yep.
I don't know, man. Something. Women have that superpower strength. Because my wife would have just been like, whatever, I'm getting this shit done. Anyway, big thank you to her because she's always amazing. Yeah, I got sick, man. Flu hit me, blah, blah, blah. My son had it the week before. I'm sure that's where I got it. But, that's what happens. We go back to school and then boom, it hits.
Darn kids.
So I would say flus are like California fires now. They just happen all year round. That's the world we're living in, unfortunately. So it is what it is. But I'm back, and I'm good, and I'm fine. I feel good. I was able to work out today. I feel great. How about you, Sam? Enough about my crappy week. How did your weekend and your week go?
Oh, my weekend? Well, I'm actually watching my roommate's dogs right now, so I got to spend a lot of time with them, just kind of chilling out, doing,
cool.
Typical dog care stuff. So it was fun.
Fun.
I watched randomly the Lego Batman movie for the first time on Sunday night.
Wait, this is the old Lego Batman movie.
I think with Will Arnett as Batman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one that came out first, right? The first, because isn't there a new one, or am I wrong?
There's one that's specifically Batman.
Okay.
And there's the original Lego movie where Chris Pratt plays the main character.
That's the one.
And then there's another one where it's just Batman, with Will Arnett as Batman.
Okay.
And that movie was good.
It was good?
It was nice. I'm like, oh, this is way better than a typical kids movie. It's really good.
Awesome. Yeah, I love my Batman. So super cool. I'll have to check it out. That'll be a fun one. Watch with the kids.
Then, that was pretty much my weekend.
That was your weekend?
Yeah.
And, I don't know where you guys are at right now, but it's Southern California. It's hot as hell lately. I'm wearing the cutoff sleeve. I'm not trying to look cool. I'm hot. It's fucking hot. Sorry, my language. Pardon. There's kids. Yes, hot. So, anyway, we are going to tonight. Let's talk about what we're doing. Last week we left you guys with episode 5 of sculpting a latex mask, and I took it as far as I thought I needed to take it. I know, guys want to see all the little detail stuff. I'll show it later. The finished thing, detail schmetail, man. It's not important. I think what I did was the important part. But I'll show it to you guys later when I get it done. We need to change it up, So this week we were gonna do building model kits and stuff, but we had something a little better lying around, and we're like, you know what? This will make a better show. So let's do that for now. We'll save the model kit thing for later. So we're gonna do this vampire, which Sam can maybe put on camera here.
Yeah.
Or he's probably already got it on.
There you go.
He's, maestro of camera. Anyway, we're going to do some skin painting, and specifically a Barlow-esque vampire skin color, because I get asked about that a lot. I've done some Death Studios Barlow masks and stuff. Now, I'm not going to paint this exactly like that. It's not even base coated in the same color, but similar, similar. So it's mainly, sorry, I just ate. I'm just going to warn you guys, I eat before these shows and drink, and then sometimes errors got to come up. So I apologize if that happens. It's gross. I'm sorry. And so we are going to paint this Barlow and show you guys some painting again tonight. So back to painting. And again, if you guys have any suggestions for shows you'd like to see, things you'd like us to do, and please don't go, oh yeah, I want to see you mold a whole thing entirely. No, not going to happen. I'm not going to sit here and mold something entirely. But, within reason, like 2 hours. I can fit it in 2 hours. If you guys have any ideas, not that we're out of ideas, we have some more, but if you have some, throw them at us. We'll listen. We're here to hear what you guys want. Maybe we can make your dreams come true. I don't know. And before we get started, one last note. I know you guys are waiting for this next contest/giveaway. Here's the thing. I got sick, went down, fell behind. I'm behind on a lot of stuff. I need to catch up. I'm going to postpone that giveaway/contest for now. Now, that doesn't mean we're not going to do it. I have to postpone that thing. There's no way I have time to cast anything. I've got plenty of things I owe people I'm trying to get done. So I want to take care of my customers. They're number one, especially my Pumpkinhead customers. So with all that being said, I'm pausing on this contest right now. Plus, we just did the one giveaway, and again, I'm going to apologize to all those people because I haven't even sent the magnets out because I got sick. I'm supposed to do it last week.
They're still here though.
They're here. They're done. Magnets are all done. I just need to go to the post office this week or whatever and pack them up and ship them. So I apologize to everybody. I got sick. I was going to do it last week. Went down and been in bed, so I couldn't do it. You can kind of hear the hoarseness still in my voice. Anyway, so the contest /giveaway, we're gonna hold off for a few weeks here. So just let's give me some breathing room. Let me catch up, get back on order, and then we'll do that contest giveaway for sure. So I apologize to you guys that are patiently waiting and excited, but I promise you we will get to it and we'll make it worthwhile. All right, and that is all. That was like a lot of upfront news, man. Hey, who saw the UFC fights over the weekend? That whole
who was it?
Drama. Nick Diaz.
Nick Diaz, that's
versus Kamshat Mazaya, whatever his name is. I can't even say his name. And then they had to switch that up to Nick Diaz versus Tony Ferguson because there was a big fight behind the scenes, and then all hell broke loose.
Diaz, sorry if this is spoilers. He dropped him though, didn't he?
Well, Ferguson, no. So Diaz won. I mean, I don't think it's spoilers at this point. If they haven't watched it, too bad. I mean, it's all over YouTube. But Diaz won. He beat Tony Ferguson. He ended up submitting him with a choke.
Didn't he flex right before? Like,
he was going for the classic Diaz flex. But Tony was real close to like Diaz got really frustrated and almost like he literally stopped fighting and like shook his head no, like he didn't want to go on because Tony was destroying that guy's legs.
Wow. Like
destroying his legs. So, I mean, I thought Tony was going to take it, but I think a few more of those leg kicks, and he might have. But yeah, that was some crazy fights, man. And then you had what's his name, Kamchag, or how do you say his name? Kamchag? I can't say his damn name. Anyway, he's a beast, and he went against Holland, but I was going for Holland. I wanted Holland to kick his ass because you know what? Like, I love that other dude, but man, when he got all Mr. like, I'm gonna kill everybody and defeat everybody, I was like, get out of here. You know, you just need watch. You go up against a bigger dude, and it ain't gonna be so easy to take him down.
He'll put them down so fast. Yeah.
Yeah, and he looks like he's afraid of Paulo Costa to me. So Paulo wants to fight him. I want to see that. And Adesanya, I want to see that too.
Yeah.
Let's see him try and take those dudes down. I mean, he's a beast. He's a hell of a fighter, but man, he's still amateur. He's still got not amateur, but he's still got like a lot to learn. But he's amazing for sure. I'm not gonna slight him any, but I just hate when they get all cocky and arrogant.
Yeah, is it Khamzat Chimaev?
That's it. Khamzat Chimaev. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's a great fighter. You can't take nothing away from him, but at the same time, he's chill. But I hated the fact that when he came out of that fight, and it's totally legal, Holland went for like a bump fist to start the fight off, and he just bum rushed him like a little wimp.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
I heard about that. And people are like...
And now, it's
like,
legal because
yeah.
as soon as the ref says fight, dude, you got to protect yourself at all times. But that was a wimp move. That was a sissy move. I don't care what anyone says. He just bum rushed him. It's like taking a sucker punch, and caught him off guard. I mean, because not that he wouldn't have won anyway. He probably would have, but still, I think that's poor sport move right there.
Really sours it. Yeah.
Yeah, sours it, bro. Huh. Come on now. Let's put that. I want to see him go up in weight, though. I want to see him versus who's Adesanya fighting next? It's
I don't know. I'm not keeping up with any of the cards.
Oh man, Adesanya's up against the next dude he's fighting is a guy that's knocked him out in the past in a different fighting venue. He's a beast. Dang, this guy's crazy. What's his name? Oh, can't. It's not coming to me.
I'll look it up.
It's not coming to me. You looking it up?
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, dude. There's some serious fights. And what's his name? The two top dudes on the top right now have their hands full with some serious.
Next one I see is November 12th. Alex
Pereira.
Yeah.
Pereira has knocked out Adesanya before, but that was a long time ago. Different Adesanya these days, but still, this guy's a destroyer.
Is he really Adesanya's one in 23-1?
He knocked him out in kickboxing. He knocked out Adesanya. Yeah.
This will be good.
He's not that's the thing. Like, how all these guys are afraid to go in on Adesanya. Uh-huh. He's not. He will go right up to him and start punching him. Like because he's got all the same technique as him, and then has been doing it longer in a way. Like, he's got all the same like pizzazz and everything in a way. It's like facing your bestie kind of thing. Like, that guy's got everything he's got as well.
Right.
But at the same time, he's got the win over him. So that's gonna go in
good.
here.
That's such a good story. Oh man.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. And then what's his name is fighting that crazy dude. What's the blonde hair guy?
Let me see. I'll look up the card for the 12th. 281 is the next one.
I'm forgetting all the names now. I usually have them down in my brain. Anyway, there's another good one. Same issue where this guy he's fighting is beating everybody.
Adesanya is the main event.
Yeah. But what's the other one?
Esparza, Dustin Poirier.
No, it's the card after
Dan
that.
Hooker. No. Okay.
So it's another card, and it's another champion going up against like a crazy
Prochaska and Teixeira.
No, maybe it's
Yuri.
It might be another. It might be a few cards down their way.
Anyway.
I forget. But anyway, someone in the chat might know what I'm talking about. It's the blonde hair guy. He always dyes his hair blonde. He's
Paulo
really good.
Costa?
No, not Paulo Costa. He's really good. It's driving me crazy. Now it's driving me crazy. You can't think of his name.
Help us out in the chat if you watch UFC.
I'm getting old. I just can't think.
I haven't kept up with UFC in so long. Oh,
yeah.
I should.
The free fights are great. It's funny. Sometimes the free fights are even better than the paid, and the pay is expensive. All right, guys. Well, I'll stop talking about all that anyway, because that's UFC. We're talking about Monday Night Monster Jam, so enough of the UFC. And there we go. So this is what we're doing tonight. Oh, I'll show you guys. So when I was sick during my downtime, you know, I'm stubborn, so I always like, you know, just sitting in bed. I was after 2 days, I was like going crazy because I'm so used to working on something. So I started going crazy, and I was like, "Oh, I got to do something while I'm sitting in bed." You know, like this is driving me nuts. So I started throwing on some horror movies and stuff. You know, I throw on. I hadn't seen the remake of Hills Have Eyes forever, and I was like, "That's pretty decent." So I threw it on. I don't know why I was in the mood for that. Normally I wouldn't be, but I did. So then I whipped up this little Sculpey bust here. I don't know if Sam can. You could throw this on the camera. I whipped up this little mutant Sculpey bust. Real tiny bust. We'll do a little turn. And I did it in Sculpey, and then I baked it out today, just for fun. So this is like what popped in my head while I was sick with the flu, and then watching Hills Have Eyes. So this little Hills Have Eyes mutant. I just call him Lunk. Anyway, little freaky inbred guy, man. I'll have to make copies of these and sell them. This is a small bust, so I'll probably sell these for like $40. Little copies of them. But anyway, pretty cool. I got to get them in a mold eventually when I have time. Thought I'd show it to you guys. Little show and tell, share. All right, so there we go. So let's get going here on this vampire. And so I've painted a lot of these, as I was saying, and you're gonna hear my compressor in the background. Sorry, because I need it. So I've done all these like Desk Studios Barlow type masks for collectors. I've done a few. You know, I do them from time to time. People keep asking about them too. I'm only doing one more of those things. And then I think that's it. I've done more than I wanted to do. But they're for a pretty penny. They're not cheap, but they're good. And you know, a really good collector friend guy. He put it on YouTube. If you look it up on YouTube, he shared his Barlow mask he got from me, and he talks about it and does like a share. It's pretty cool. You guys should check that out because he's got a little video, which is awesome. Anyway, this is not Barlow. This is not a Barlow mask, but it's along the same vein and idea of that mask. So I thought I would run through just the skin tonight a little bit. I'm not going to try and finish this whole thing, obviously, but I thought I'd run through. So the base coat that's on this right now is Pax. And Pax is Pros-Aid glue mixed with paint. And in this case, I just used, let's see, I just used Delta Ceramcoat acrylics, the cheap hobby store stuff. You can get these at like Target, or better, it would be like a Hobby Lobby, the cheap dollar paints. I mean, just craft paints. I mix those into the glue, a little bit of the glue. So if you have a little cup, and you put a little bit of glue in, like I always tell people, it's like a 30 to 70 ratio. So 30%, 30% glue in a cup, right? So if you have a cup this big, that's going to be just the bottom part of it, like a quarter, and then 70% paint, you know. So that's all you need. You know, you can change it any way you want. You can do 50-50, whatever you want. If you want it to be more tacky, it'll be 50-50 paint to glue. It'll be much more tacky. A lot more glue in there. But yeah, Pros-Aid's expensive, so you only really need 30% glue. And then I just brushed it on with a soft brush. Now, I don't use a chip brush. I don't like chip brushes because they leave a lot of brush marks, and they also tend to create little air bubbles and stuff, even in the paint. So I hate them. I hate using chip brushes. So I use big, thick, soft, bristled craft brushes, like watercolor brushes, and you can clean the paint out afterwards. So you're fine. You can reuse the brush. Just clean it with water and soap and then alcohol, and you'll get all of that out, and you'll be fine. So I brush it on over the eyes, except for the gums and teeth, because I'm going to work those over translucently. Now, I will do eventually over the gums and the teeth, I'll do just a standard layer of glue, Pros-Aid, without any color in it, you know, just so it dries clear, and then you preserve the color of the gums and the teeth. So with that being the case. You can see how flexible this is. I can stretch this. I can bend it, and it's got a little tackiness, just a tiny bit of tackiness, not a lot, but it's super, super durable. It's grabbed onto that latex and super, super durable. That's why I use it. Now, if you are on a budget and you're like, hey, I don't have the money for packs, or for Pros8, it is expensive for a decent amount. It's not cheap. It's like $40 for an 18-ounce bottle. So I understand that can be a problem. So if you're in the more of the market of like, hey, I got $15, I got to base coat some masks, go to your local Walmart and get indoor house paint. Pick a color that you want. Let's say, for instance, you want this color, or you want skin tone, a light skin tone, and you want to make different colors. You can just get one color. So you could get some, like a light skin tone base or something, and then pay $9 or something for like a pint or a quart, like a quart actually of it, I think. Just make sure it's indoor house paint, not outdoor, indoor only. And then you can mix 1 cup of that paint, and you don't need to use big cups. You can use small cups if you want. If you just want to mix a little bit for like one mask, you can just use like ketchup cups. Anyway, the point is you just want to mix 1 cup of the house paint, whatever color you're using. And if you want to adjust the color, you can use FW acrylics to adjust that, okay? And then you're going to use 1 cup of straight liquid latex, which you pour your mask with, the same latex you pour your mask with. And then you're going to use half a cup of water, okay? The reason you don't use a full cup, if you're going to airbrush it on, then you want to use a full cup of water. If you're going to brush it on, just tone it down a bit on the water, because you want to be able to brush it on and be opaque. Okay, so that's a secret to making just a regular base coating formula with just latex. Now, when that dries, and let it dry thoroughly for a few hours, it's not going to have any tackiness, but it will be flexible and rubbery because it has all that latex in it. Then do your paint job. All right? Boom. Now, I'm teaching all this stuff in my upcoming class, my in-person class, which I have 3 seats left for. So if you guys are in Southern California and you want to take an awesome painting class and learn how to paint, do the base coats, I'll be teaching several base coats, how to do them, how to mix them, what to use, all these things in person from start to finish, how to put teeth in a mask, how to color them, how to stain them, how to paint the whole skin. This class is for you. So this class is coming up in October 22nd, and that is an all-day Saturday class workshop on painting latex masks. You'll walk away with your very own mask, and you'll walk away with a paint set that came with the class. How killer is that? And knowledge, which is the most important part of the whole class. You will not ever have to ask how to paint a mask after that, as far as in terms of like what to do. So, and we work step by step. I do a step, you do a step. That's very important to note, because not a lot of teachers teach that way. A lot of people just demonstrate it and then, okay, off you go. I go with you step by step, teaching you every specific step I do. So when I do a step, you do it. I do it, you do it. And then if you have problems, I come around and help you. So it's a great in-person class, and I only host 10 students. 10. That's it. That's all I can fit.
There's 3 spots left.
3 spots left. So if you want to join in, go to my website, caseylovemonsters.com. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm plugging my own stuff right now. caseylovemonsters.com. In-person classes. Up top, it says in-person. Click on that in-person. Sign up. All right. Here we go. I'm going to show you for free now what I do for skin on this. Here we go. Now, we're going to start off by not airbrushing anything. I'm going to show you some simple techniques. Easy stuff to do. One of my favorite all-time techniques, the sponge. Sea sponge. Oh, you know what? Damn, let's grab that. Before I start, let me grab that trash can.
Sure.
You want to forget something?
That's okay. All right, while Casey's grabbing that, be sure to leave a like on the video if you guys are around.
Oh,
likes always help us. And
yeah.
Also be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And check us out on Facebook at Monday Night Monster Jam on Facebook. That's our Facebook page where We share artwork where some of our community members also share artwork. Just go there and share what projects you're working on right now, or ask questions about stuff that you see people working on. Like, everybody's cool over there.
Yeah, and you know what? Before we even start, if you want to sound off on who's joined us tonight,
Sure.
Let's just acknowledge everyone, and then while you're doing that, I'm going to show them some masks that got painted before I got sick.
Oh, sure.
That were done with latex. Actually, this mask was done with half latex and half Prozade base coat, so 2 different base coats. Check that out. So I can spin. If you just set it up, I'll just spin it. This is called Parasite. It's a mask I just did, completed for a good friend, customer, friend of mine, really good friend of mine, longtime friend. And so this upper part was done with latex base coating, and this bottom part was done with PAX base coat. Don't ask me why. I just felt like that was what I should do. Anyway, and they're sealed 2 different ways. This is all glossy, and then this is all kind of matte skin with glossy areas. And yes, I know everyone loves to say those eyes look like some male part, but that's not what they are. But you can go ahead and think that.
All right, joining us tonight, we got John Eubank, who's been here since 5:30, patiently waiting for the stream to start.
Thank you, John.
We got C. Gomez, My Mental Factory, joining us one more time. Kevin Young, Chris Dawson, I'm Not Vintage, I'm Grumpy. Mad Makes, Richard Wiant, Creative Critter, Jason Giaconetti, H&J, Poise is Decent, Poise is Mad Decent, Alexander Sanchez, JB Cunningham, Matt McNeil, Mark EFX, Neo Kazama, Creative Mutation, Brogan Johnson, and Clay's Carvings, Andy Neal, Edward Kennefick, and let's see, am I missing anybody? Paulo EMC, Eric Sosa, and David Felchek, Kirk Durfee, Spooky Threads, who's joining us just recently, Nick Schneider, am I missing anybody? Brian McCruden, Tabo Dread, who is just catching us right at the tail end of the intro. What's up, Tabo? Cody Hatfield, Clay's Carvings, and I believe that is everybody that has chatted so far.
Awesome. So, thank you, Sam.
Yep.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for everyone that's joined us. We're always trying to give you guys props, shout out. Let me explain to you guys, too, a little bit about this design. I never get a chance to do this. It's kind of a fun one. So the whole point of this design was something I came up with called Parasite. The parasite is what's living inside this head. So if you were to look at this head like this is some humanoid alien creature that, obviously its eyes are become, melting and weird. But it was some weird alien thing that was attacked by this crab parasite thing here that you're seeing all these legs. So if you can imagine, like, you guys, you ever seen like kids, or maybe you had a kid friend that had like hermit crabs, like little hermit crab pet. It like goes into a shell. I always thought of it like that, like it kills these aliens or kills whatever a planet it's on. Maybe it's a human being, or in this case, it's like this humanoid alien thing, which I don't know what this thing would normally all look like, if it had its lower jaw. But you can see where it's kind of like cut off and rotting away. So this is like just basically using its head and living out of, by eating its brain and living out of it. It was the idea that, this parasites do. They just attack you from inside. So this thing's attacking him and then using the head of the alien to live out of. So like these legs would like crawl away with just this head on there. And that was the whole idea behind this. So also be interesting to see what the rest of this creature would look like. I always wondered, like, I should just sculpt this and then the rest to see what it looks like without the head on it, take the head away. So that's what the whole fun idea with this one was. This is a fun one to do. I really love this mask. All right. And you can get these on my website if you want to order one of these from me. I do sell them. These are really high-end display pieces. Not for wearing, though. Even though it would fit your head, it's not for wearing. This is another one I finished. And the reason I'm sharing these and showing you guys these is because these were base coated instead of packs. These were base coated with just latex, the latex base coat I told you guys about earlier. Now this is an oldie, man. This is classic Casey stuff from way back when. This is really old. I sculpted this in 2003 or 2 or 3 or somewhere in there, many years ago. This mutant thing, and everyone thinks it looks like the guy from Goonies, which it doesn't. It looks nothing like the guy from Goonies. I don't. If you look at the guy from Goonies and you look at this, they don't look alike. But hey, then again, I've had people think that my swine pig guy looks like the Predator, which again, they don't look any remotely closely in the same world. But whatever. Funny story. I was walking out of K&B Studios one day after work, 4:00. We're out. I was carrying my swine mask, which is like a pig, mutated pig, like if you married a pig and Mason Verger together, is what the swine kind of looks like. And anyway, I'm walking out of K&B holding this mask in my hand, and I had my hands full, and I had it in my hand. Walk into my car, and this lady across the way goes, "Hey, you know what that looks like?" And I'm like, no, what's that? That looks like the Predator. That the Predator from?" And I was like, "Okay, all right. You seen the Predator, right, lady?" No. Anyway, so anyhow, this is just to show you guys. You can do these really wild, high-end, crazy layered paint jobs on anything. You can do it on latex base coats, you can do it on prose base coats, and it works just fine on both. So that's the whole point of showing you this. All right, you go back now. Yes, obey.
Shakes his head no.
Obey. No, I don't want to. All right. So there you go. Anyway, I've jabbered enough. Let's get going. So sponge, sea sponge. You guys remember that probably from last show that I've done on painting. I know we've talked about the sea sponge. If you don't know and you don't know what I'm talking about, well, I like to use a sea sponge a lot for early modeling and stuff, quick to get stuff put in quickly. Works really good. I'm gonna use some of my own paints here. These are caseylove colors that I do through Badger. If you didn't know, that's another thing. I do sell 30, not these bottles. These are special bottles I get from the factory, but there's some small bottles like this. These are Freak Flexes, but I have these bottles sizes, the 1 ounce, and I sell 36 color sets of my paint. If you're interested in paints, they're actually really reasonably priced. If you compare the price for 36 colors compared to any other brand out there, you'll find that mine are like come out to $3 something a bottle, which is really insane. Most paints now are like $5-6 a bottle.
Yep, I've seen some for $7.
Yeah, like FWs are like $7, $6. I mean, mine are like 3 something. I forget. You could do the math, but it's cheaper. Comes with nice 36 color set you can order, and we drop ship those from the factory in Chicago right to you. All right, it's on my website. All right, so here we go. So let me. Oh, is this plugged up? Wonderful. I'm gonna do this. I have a dry throat. Bear with us. Sorry, guys. Come on, get in there. Just gotta get the crusties out here. Whoa, there we go. Hey, I saw some news. Indiana Jones 5 coming out. Might be good. We'll have to see.
Where'd they announce that? D23? They announced that at D23?
Wait, what are we talking about? What's D23?
The Disney expo, essentially, where they announce a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, you lost me there. I don't know why. When I hear D3, the D and the 3 together, I always think Diablo because my brother worked yeah. My mind goes right to Diablo. I'm sorry. Yeah, Disney. Duh. Okay. Yes. You're right. They did, right? That's where they announced it?
Yep.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. There was a picture taken with him and the actor that does Short Round. I hope he's back.
He is, yeah. He was in the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh, cool.
He's in there. What is it? Him and Michelle Yeoh. They play a couple.
Yeah.
I'm not in front of a microphone, sorry, but they're it's a really good movie if you haven't seen it. Go see it.
This is weird having my my little monitor in front of me so I can see like
Oh, who's
it's
chatting?
it's like behind, you know.
Uh-huh.
So I'm watching myself behind, like I'm already ahead and it's catching up. Looking at my shitty tattoo. By the way, if my tattoo artist is watching, you're gonna have to fix that shitty part of my arm, dude. Sorry. We're gonna fix that.
Wow, call him out.
We're covering it up, man. We're covering it up. All right, here we go. So okay, what I've got is the sponge. I've wet it with water and I wrung it out so that it's just damp. And I've mixed up. Well, I didn't mix up anything. I just took this red color. It's like a dark red tone, brick red kind of thing. And what I'm gonna do is now just sort of see how it's laying down. And as I suspected, it's a little bit too harsh. So I'm gonna water it out a little more because I don't want it to be in the back of the sponge. I want a little. You don't want it too damp. You just want it like too wet, but you don't want it wet, but you want it damp. Now, what happens is all these little bristles, you know, from the sponge, you know, they poke on the surface, leaving this sort of texture or dotting of paint, if you will, or whatever you want to call it. And then, actually, gosh, I'm realizing this is not even the first step I like to do. But okay, we'll go back. But doesn't matter. You can do it in any order. So I'm just remembering things here. I always do this. I always start out a paint job and go, oh wait, I should do this step first. So see, even happens to the best of us. So don't worry. You can't really do things too out of order. Just go for it. Have fun. So I realize this might be a little tricky to see, but what this is going to do is bring a little warmth to this, and the reason I'm using more of a dead, like a dead red tone or this darker red, is I think it will work better for a dead vampire than say like a brighter, healthier red tone that you would see in a human skin. So I always try to adjust those things depending on the monster I'm doing. And then that way you're not always doing the same colors over and over again. One thing you guys should know is I try not to always rely on the same. I mean, yeah, I rely on things that work and I know work, and I definitely do them again and again, but I always try to change things up to fit the character as well. So, if that makes sense. Oh God, don't say that. Don't say makes sense. I hate when people do that. And I just did it to you guys. Makes sense?
Do you understand?
No, it didn't make sense. I'm stupid. I don't meet too many people that do that, but oh my gosh. And if you want people to do it, don't do that anymore. Oh! Don't say that. It's really bad when they say it like cocky. Make sense? Oh my gosh. Right? Doesn't it sound better when people say, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds better. When you say makes sense, it sounds so, oh, I hate that. It's my pet peeve.
Have you caught up as opposed to, are you catching up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It just sounds nicer if you say, does that make sense? Oh my gosh. Let's talk about, this is a good subject, pet peeves. Everyone can chime in. What's your pet peeves?
Do. Let us know.
Chime in.
What's your pet peeve?
What does someone do that drives you nuts? It's okay if your boss is listening. No.
I'm trying to think of pet peeves for me.
All right, so I'm gonna just keep sponging this. Now I'll go over the whole entire thing with this, and I'm super sorry if it's annoying that I'm sucking on this thing, but my throat is dry, so I have to do something. Otherwise, I'll be dying here. So anyway, yeah, I'll move things around like the ear here, you know, just to make sure I can get into places. Hard to get places, and this will just give a little warmth to the entire skin, as I said, and that'll help give him a little bit of, I know this sounds crazy, but give him a little more life to the skin, which is not what you want with a vampire necessarily, but it won't look super alive. He'll still look, by the time I do all the layers, he'll still look dead and pale and creepy. So
A lot of people chiming in right now with some good pet peeves. You want to take a look at the chat, Casey?
God, yeah. How do I look at the chat on here? Actually, I can't see the chat.
Is it too dark?
No, I just can't even see a chat or a chat thing.
Oh, you know what?
Maybe I can't.
No, you should be able to. Oh, you know what? Let me set this up for you. Go ahead and keep painting.
All right, go for
I'll
it.
set this up.
You can grab it. Yeah, I was like, I don't see a chat. Dude, after you're done, you can say to me, "Makes sense."
You have the YouTube app on here, right?
Oh, maybe I don't.
Oh my god!
I don't even have it on there. Oh my god,
right.
bro.
Here, while I'm doing that, we got some people saying people who leave their shopping carts in the parking lots just willy-nilly.
Oh no!
Yeah, that pisses me off a lot.
Guilty.
Oh no!
All right, I'll stop.
Oh shit!
I'm gonna stop now. Now that's in my
right.
head. I've done it. I'm guilty. But you know what I do? I always put it up on the damn island thing, so it's not like just stuck in the parking,
yeah.
like in the parking space. But I am guilty. Sorry. All right, now I gotta stop that.
Wow, you don't have the YouTube app on here. That's nuts. All right.
I have a YouTube channel too.
Yeah.
But I don't have the app on my phone.
That's crazy. All right.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm not the most tech savvy dude.
Oh, you know what my pet peeve is? Ill preparedness.
Oh god.
No, I'm joking.
That was good, man. You got me. You know what my pet peeve is? People that don't have the YouTube app on their phone.
Let's see. Other pet peeves. People that don't use their turn signals when changing lanes. Neil Leffler says, yes.
That's a good one.
I identify with that so much.
Okay, people that drive way too slow in front of you. Like, the speed limit's 35, and they're driving 25. For what reason? I don't even know. That drives me nuts. Oh, here. Yeah, go ahead and double click. Sorry, we're security. It's like I don't recognize that idiot. My phone's like, dude. When that goes off, it should have some funny thing like, I'm sorry, I don't recognize this person.
So not using your turn signals.
And then it could say, makes sense. Yeah, not using turn signals. Okay, that's a good one. That pisses me off.
Oh, people who say it is what it is. That's
all the time.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
That's a depressive coping mechanism, I've heard. Like, it's pretty rampant in a lot of people. And when you hear somebody start using that in their daily vocabulary, that's a big red flag.
Wow. I didn't know that. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't what it is. Interesting. See, we're learning. We're going to learn some stuff tonight. There we go. How to hack into Casey's phone. What, it didn't work?
No, it's
oh my god. Alright. What? Maybe because I have the hat on or something. I'm not close enough. Jesus. Yeah. Alright, so. Okay. No turn signals. Shopping carts not put away. And is what it is. Man. Alright, what else we got? We're talking pet peeves, guys. Pet peeves. What's your biggest pet peeves? It's funny, now I'm trying to think of some of mine and I can't even think of them. Like that one came to mind and then I can't think of the rest.
Now you should be able to see everybody.
Oh, sick! I can see all your guys' chats. Awesome.
When someone waits in line while other people with them shop. Oh, I see. Like having somebody hold your place in line while everybody else goes out and does all the big lifting and shopping. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was big guilty of that, but it's because my mom had me and my brothers do it. So
Yeah. Hey, go get me the milk.
yeah, she just
I
wanted
forgot
us.
the milk.
She wanted us out of Costco super fast every time.
I think it depends, right? Like if it's like an obvious, like on purpose thing, like where and they don't care, give a crap who's behind them in line. You can kind of tell when it's like a mom that's like frantically needing something and totally forgot. I think there's a little room for forgiveness. Or you know what? Then you just say, "Hey, why don't you go ahead of me? I'm still getting something." That's all that takes.
I always let people go in front of me in line. I really don't care.
Yeah. All right, so I am just finishing up this sponging layer here, guys. And you know, so what I do, I should probably describe kind of what I do here. So I put the paint on one side of the sponge. Now, there's some tricky areas like inside these ears that are hard to get to. You kind of have to force the sponge in there a little bit to get to them, or to get the color in there. So anyhow, I sponge with the one side that has color, the paint soaked into it, and then the other side is, you know, just damp but clean. And you see me like pop it back and forth, you know, or switch it back and forth, you know. So the side that's clean just kind of, what it does is subtles down the paint. Because if you don't, you'll have too much. You'll have all these harsh dots and mark, you know, pattern from the sponge. It'll be way too harsh, and that's also why I put more water in the paint. You have to try it, and just try it in a spot real quick. You can get it off real quick, so don't worry, don't freak out. But you try it out, and if it's not soft enough, you gotta, you know, if the paint is too opaque, then you need to put a little water in it, and then try it again until it looks about right. And you just want like a kind of, what you want is like a soft pattern dotting of the sponging texture left behind without it being too harsh. It's kind of the same as if you're familiar with the flicking technique, where you flick spots on your sculpture or something. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but like there's a flicking technique where you do that. It's the same idea. Like you want those to dry up kind of just not too overly harsh, because then it looks like fake and doesn't look real, like it's skin. So you want a little softness when it dries up. Same with this. You want it to be a little soft. Now, if you get a few areas that are a little harsh, which you always will, don't worry, because as you do more and more of the paint job layers and things like that, you know, it'll you can soften it out with other layers down the road. I'm trying to do and talk and think and all that. No, my brain doesn't like all that overload. Okay, so now we've sponged, you know, enough of this warm color on here, this Bordeaux red or whatever you want to call it, color here. And so now we can kind of move on to the next steps. Just make sure I've got everything here. So a lot of people think they need to airbrush everything. You don't. Actually, it's better if you use a bunch of techniques rather than just rely on airbrushing. I know a lot of people just airbrush everything. I used to do that too, thinking that was the way. But I've learned over the years that a lot of other techniques can bring a lot of value to your paint job. So, you know, I would say try other things, techniques, you know, brush work, paint, sponging work, everything, and airbrushing. Combo all of them together to get the best results. And you'll find what you like and what works best. Okay, now I got to clean out the sponge a little bit so that the paint doesn't dry up too much in it. use my, sorry, I have to turn away here, but I'll use my spray bottle to kind of soak that up. And then what I'm going to do is also rinse out this plate. You can use a paper plate or a plastic plate to put your paint on that you're going to sponge. And actually, let me get this better because we're going to use this again.
Edward Kennefick says
What?
his pet peeve as of late is AI artwork.
That was a good one. That is a good one. Yeah, AI artwork. You know what? I get really, I'm gonna be honest. I'll admit this. I get really frustrated when I see AI artwork. I don't know why. I guess because I just feel, and I'm not gonna go on a rant here. I just feel I know that they aren't earning all of that. You know, maybe they're going back and reworking it all. Great for them. But the initial idea did not come from here or here, the heart and the mind of their own. They're letting a program decide that and then rework it.
This is people who are specifically making money off of it, right?
Yeah. I don't care if they're making money. For me, I don't care how they're doing it. I just think it's crap. I mean, it may look great. I'm not going to say it doesn't look great. It looks good. The art looks good. But they didn't come up with it from their mind and their own imagination. And that right there drives me nuts. That one fact alone drives me nuts. And the other fact is that this could be a potential problem for artists that work their asses off all their lives to make a name and get big and then work for a company. And I've already heard of this happening where special effects shops and people are using this crap to come up with ideas. It's like, get out of here. You know, there's people out there that have worked their asses off to work for you, and then you're going to go use that? No, I don't know. I just have an issue with that. I think it sucks. I think it's lame. Go do what you want. You know, who am I? But I think it's lame. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway.
Yeah. I'm not vintage. I'm grumpy. Says one of their pet peeves is FX people who do silicone because they're too damn lazy to learn to run foam.
Oh. This is gonna be a pet peeves. Oh my god! What did I open up? We opened up a can of worms. Uh-oh. I don't know. I'm just a traditionalist. I'm a creature of habit. I love traditional art. I love all that. You know, nothing against artists. However they want to make a living is up to them. Nothing against that. But I just love, I love imagination. You know, if you use your own imagination, I think there's something so, not just, oh, that art is awesome. There's just something amazing about that. You know, like, look at Frank Frazetta. Look at these guys that came before us. You know, Bernie Wright and Frank Frazetta. You can't deny that there's just so much in the power behind that art and imagination. And here's the other thing with the AI art, and I'm not trying to pick on it, but it all looks the same already. Everything I've seen looks the same. I can't stand that. It's something I can't stand about ZBrush. Like, I love ZBrush. I love how you can do a bunch with it, but I'm sorry. I see a lot of the same techniques across the board, and then you'll see one or two guys that really stand out because they don't rely on those techniques. Then that's amazing. You know, it's an amazing program. There's a lot to offer. I've used it. I say use it because it's like Photoshop. When that came out, it was amazing. But if you're relying on all the same techniques all the time that others do, then it just looks the same. And I don't like that. I don't know. Whatever. And I suck at Photoshop and ZBrush, so don't listen to me. But anyway, I say come up with it yourself. That's the whole point of art, man, is to explore and be who you are, you know, in the end. Anyway. All right, I got to shut up now. I'm going to piss people off. And I don't want to do that either. We could have AI artists on here, and I'm probably pissing them off. All right, so, okay, next thing I'm going to do is, let's see. Okay, so now I'm just trying to get back, I'm trying to get the negativity out of my mind here. I'm trying to get back to what I should be focusing on, which is this for you guys. So the next thing is I'm going to put on some more layers with the sponging and, oh, no, shoot. I just remembered. the step I was thinking earlier, let me do this first. So I'm going to shoot some underlayering first. And I'll talk a little bit about it as I do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this really dark blue. It's kind of like, it's one of my colors called Deep Blood, but it's like, if I had to describe it, I know it sounds weird. Deep Blood, it's not even red. I didn't name this color. Believe me, I wouldn't have named it this. But so anyway, that's what it's called, and the whole thing is it's like a Payne's gray kind of blue, like a not a black, because Payne's gray runs the gamut of like going really blackish, but it can also be really bluish. You know, it's like kind of a big level there of Payne's gray that you can find in different paints. Mine's more of the blue side. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is put some in a cup. Like so. I'm just going to do a little bit like that, you know. And then we're going to use a little bit of water. This is to thin it down just a little bit, a few squirts of water. Now what that does with my paints is it thins it out a little, okay? Thins out the body of the paint. I'm going to do a little more because I do want this to be kind of thin. So a little bit thinner. And when I do this, kind of, when you see me do this, I'm just looking at the side of the cup to see how thin it's gotten. So I don't thin it too much because it's really easy to put too much water. Now this is 99% alcohol. You can use 90 less. You can use less. You can use 92, 97, 90, whatever you can find, but not 70%. 70% doesn't work for this technique. For this thing, it doesn't work the same way. And I'll explain as I go. But this is 99% alcohol. Okay, so now I've thinned it out with some of that. Now I'm going to test it here on a napkin. And this is just to give me a rough idea of how, when I spray, what I have to do to adjust to get the look I want, because I don't want it to be too heavy. So, and that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do, now I'm going to concentrate this color in some of the deepest areas that are really close to where the skin and the bone are, right? So like the temples here. So I'm just going to kind of shade, very lightly shade this in. See that little shadow? And here, the inner eyes, and even inside the socket of the eye. And even around the bag of the eye. But anywhere where I think, like, where I see maybe the skull structure is coming through. So obviously under the cheekbones is a classic vampire area that you want to do this. There we go. I think all the AI artists are protesting my page now. Forget that guy. Not gonna watch this show. He hates us. All right. So, and I'll even go in the inside of the ear just a little bit, not too much, not crazy, but I like to go to the deeper areas just to get a little depth already to those. And I know that's not where the bone lies or anything. It's something I always do. Go behind the jaw here, and then the back of the skull too. There's some bony areas, you know, you can kind of see some of these protrusions here. And then just as a general kind of all around, I'll just kind of model this lightly, and then eventually I'll do, you know, very light modeling. This is like super, I'm pulled back away from the mask, so it's not like super tight and thin. Also, he's got this ridge bone up here on his skull here. It's kind of ridge up here, so I want to get that to be pronounced a little. Okay, and then the last step I'm going to do here is, and this is a tricky one because usually I have a light to show me where the veins are, but I can kind of see them here. I'm going to have to turn this a bit, but I'm going to go through and try and find all these veins. Hopefully I hit them right. There's some large ones here, and I'll even add to them a bit. Very hard to see. Because the thing is, I sculpt the veins so that they don't really stand up hardly at all. So, a lot of times it's hard to see. So I gotta see where the damn vein is. So what I'm saying to you guys is what you can do is if you have a lamp above you, can hit it the right way, and then you'll see the vein sticking up. So you can, when you're airbrushing it, you can hit the mark of it, hit right on it every time. But in this instance, I don't have that. I don't have a lamp in front of me, so I'm gonna wing it. I got I can't see. All right, here we go. I see it now. Kind of do the same thing on each side there. I'll try to break it up though. I don't always like, if I sculpted a vein that's, doing the same thing the other side's doing, and I try to break it up a little bit. So I'm gonna branch off some little veins on these just to help break them up a bit. Now these will be really deep, like underlying veins, and they'll get toned. Don't worry, because they'll get toned down when we do the layers, that go on top. So do some coming out onto the ears. Whoops. Well, that wasn't good. I almost spilled paint all over myself. That would have been bad. Can you imagine if this was like resin and you're trying to spray in here? You could not bend this ear. One of the benefits of latex when you're painting it is you can bend things to get to them. It's kind of nice. Did we get any more pet peeves?
You can scroll up and down in the chat if you want.
Here comes the non-rant. That was me earlier, and then I ranted. Did you see my episode suggestion earlier? Neil Leffner. What was his episode suggestion?
I don't know. I'll check back for you.
May not go away right away. Yeah, so I'm just reading some of you guys' things. It's cool that I can see them. I know I shouldn't pick on these artists. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I just don't agree that that's the best way to get to original, cool looking art. That's just my opinion. So hopefully I'm not offending anyone.
And we actually do have a quick question from Chris Dawson. If you'd like
Oh,
to take
cool.
one right now.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, we could take a question.
Sure. So Chris is wondering, any workshop lighting preferences? I'm trying to set up a new workspace and the lighting is terrible. I bought a few different kinds of LED lights and they all look terrible. One looks purple.
Oh.
So they're kind of looking for your advice, like if there's a particular brand or color temperature you tend to stick with, or
I try. When I look for shop lights, like in Home Depot or something, I'm always looking for natural ones that say natural daylight, which do tend to be more. I find more on the slight bluish side, but I like that. I prefer that. You just got to kind of remember that about them. But I look for natural daylight, and then in my overhead lamps, I have like those circle lamps, right? And they usually have the two bulb inside, like one's for yellow and one's, I never use the yellow bulb, but anyway, I have those, and I put natural. Well, they usually come with natural daylight rings, but I put those in, and once they dry, they burn out, So I look for natural daylight. Shouldn't be purple though. That sounds very strange. That'd be odd. Or do you mean bluish? Is that what you mean by that?
it might be bluish, yeah.
Like that bluish, because I like that kind of thing, but that's just me. I like that cooler. Like it's supposed to be natural daylight, but it's like a cooler. I don't find that it's like truly natural daylight. I don't know. But if you don't like that, then try to find something with a little more warmth in it, and look at different natural daylight bulbs, because they're not all the same. Like some, you might find one that's got a warmer tone to it, versus like a different brand.
Yeah, I would think something, because indoors is 3200 Kelvin typically, and outdoors is 5600 Kelvin. I hope I have that right. I should have that right. That working fucking.
Yeah, and with lights though, like what I do is just like you can go to Home Depot and check out some of them. Well, a lot of times they don't have them set up, but you can always take it back. Go home and turn it on first before you like go and hang it. Turn it on, make sure you like the light it's putting out. If not, take it back and try a different brand or a different one.
Right.
And then I know that's a headache, but that way you can find what you like and what works for you. Now I'm just doing these smaller blue micro veins, all over the place here, just because I want this guy to be very veiny. Now, when I did the Barlows, I didn't do this many veins on him, because when you see him in the movie, he doesn't have that many veins. I'm just doing this on my own mask, because I prefer this guy be really veiny.
Here we go. Here's what Neil meant by show idea. Neil says, here's an idea for a show. I struggle with how to paint in different scales. Would it be possible to do a paint up on the same bust in 2 or 3 different sizes?
I don't think I have the same thing in 2 or 3 different sizes. I definitely have something in 2 different sizes. The only problem is when I do that, oftentimes one of those is a little different, because I am either improved the sculpture or I blew it sculpting one of them. Like for instance, maybe I didn't sculpt the big one as cool as the small one, or the small one as cool as the big one. But I do have some. I do have something we could probably do that with. The only problem is fitting like a whole entire paint job on a stream is not something I'm looking really into doing, just because of time. But yeah, I mean, that's a good idea for sure. I do have like my swine in a mask version and in a mini bust. That's a good example. But again, like to paint the whole mask and to paint the mini bust, like all that would take like so many streams just to do all that. I mean, I spend just so you guys know, I mean, I usually painting a mask, like I like to spend days painting a mask. I don't like to do it. I don't like to paint a mask in just one day usually. The only time I do that is in my classes, because the classes are just a day class. But typically at home I'll spend, days on a paint job. And I mean, nowadays, because I work full-time painting, I don't have, I have to do it in between. So it's just like hours here and there, night times or weekends. And then when I can get it done just like that way. But if you add up all the time, it would be like, several days of work, basically. Now, not a big mask like this. This won't take days, but like a normal size mask, like these ones I just showed you guys earlier on the
bigger, taller ones.
The bigger ones, the Parasite and the one called Disease, which everyone thinks looks like Goonies, the Goonies guy. Those I spent several days painting those masks, like, and 2 of those days were like full weekend days, like 6 to 7 hours on Saturday and Sunday, plus some extra hours to finish them. So it took about 2.5 days to do those masks, those 2 together. So that gives you kind of an idea. Usually it's 2 or 3 days. So anyway, but try to imagine like fitting that in these live streams would be tricky, right? Because we just have 2 hours. So we'd have to do a bunch of live streams to fit it all in, obviously. Not impossible, but but that's a great idea. Thank you for the idea, though. I mean, it's something we'll definitely consider. You bring up a good point. And I do have several masks that I did do as smaller busts. Now I'm gonna get pretty carried away here with these veins because I want this guy to be like really veiny, and all these veins that you see me doing in this blue, they're not gonna stay just blue. I mean, I'm gonna layer some parts and areas of these veins as well. So there's when you do masks and stuff, you can not only layer the overall skin, but you can layer the overall details as well. So like your veins can become multiple layered. They don't have to stay just one color. One thing I would advise to you guys is, and I do this a lot, is I layer my veins. Don't let your veins just be one color everywhere. You can start with one color, but and do it lightly like this, and then of course this is going to get toned down before I go do the next layer. But then go back and adjust. Like maybe I'll bring some purples in just key spots of the veins, or some reds or whatever. But you need to layer the details as well as the overall skin too. So keep that in mind. Don't just leave the veins all one color and call it a day. You spend a little extra time, go in there and make them look really cool. Give the veins their own character. And that will help the mask really come off and set itself off. These are good tips for you guys, man, if you're looking to elevate your paint jobs. These are the things I think about when I do my paint jobs. Things I've learned over the years, sharing those with you guys. Now I'm going to put a few little veins down in this chin just so I don't ignore this area. But I think it's the last area that needs it. All right, so I think I'm good with that color. So I'm going to clear this out of my airbrush. And I just wash it out with water. Clear out the airbrush. Now we're not using, these paints don't have chemicals or anything in them. I'm not using anything with chemicals. These are just straight acrylics that you see me using. And you see how I use them very lightly on there. So you want to build your layers up really light and thin. If you go and put on a bunch of heavy layers, yes, when you flex the mask, those layers can crack. So if you do put on something heavy, you're going to have to seal it with glue, the packs, the Prose by itself, and then go on to your next step. So, because then it will be flexible. You sandwich it. Otherwise, so for instance, let's say this guy had like, he was a frog character and I want to put like really jet black straight on here. Well, if you flex the piece there, it's going to crack later, no matter sealer or not. So you're going to have to either put packs into it, like make it a packs paint, or you're going to have to do something like that. So, but if you want to airbrush it, it's hard to airbrush packs because the glue just gunks up in your airbrush, so you can't airbrush it. So you would do black and then you'd brush over it with Prozade, then move on. Super secret tip right there. You're not going to hear a lot of people tell you about that one. That one's key because people always wonder, well, how did you get that solid color on there and it's flexible? I don't know. Come take my class. No. I'm just sharing with you guys. Those are good tips. So keep those in mind. All right. Okay, so now I've got these blue veins all over here. He's looking nice and cotton candy. Blueberry. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my sponging a little bit, and I'm going to introduce some other tones and things in here that might seem a little weird, but I don't know. It works. I like it. So I'm going to start with flesh, I think. Let me see. Am I going to start with flesh? I don't know. Or am I going to do something else? I think I'm going to do flesh.
Also got some more questions from folks in the chat if you got some time.
Yeah. You know what? Let's do this. Before I do flesh, I'm actually going to mix up a similar color to what the base coat kind of is. So I'm going to do some light gray with a little bit of blue. I'm going to do a different blue, though. I'm do more of this periwinkle blue here. What time are we at? Oh, 7:20. Oh, wow. Okay. So we're way past our artist share. We'll get to the questions, guys. Sorry. Let me just get a couple more layers here. I want to show you guys, as much as the beginning parts of this as I can. Again, we're not going to show a whole paint job tonight, but we're going to share as much as we can on the beginning process. Because a lot of people get curious about that. So I have this real light blue. It's not exactly the base color or anything. But what I'm going to do is sponge this on. Now, you're not going to be able to see this on camera very well at all, because it's so close to the base color. But what I'm doing, and I know it's hard to see, but I'm knocking these veins back. That's what this is going to do. And you'll notice I'm not switching the sponge around. And the reason is you're not going to see the harshness of this color. And that's why I don't need to switch to the other side and tone it down or anything. You can just sponge this color on. So this is a quick step. And I'm gonna just knock some things down. Now, there's other ways. Like some people will overspray the mask. That's fine, but what I don't like about that is it makes the mask very chalky, and it can knock down things you don't want to knock down. For instance, maybe you don't want to knock all your reds down or other colors you have on there. So that's not always a reliable trick. It has its problems. So this is more concentrated into specific areas, and it looks less chalky when it dries up and it's done, because it's not being oversprayed on things. Because overspray catches high points but not lower points, and so it can have this look to it, this chalky look. There we go, that's pretty good. Let that dry up. It's mainly those big veins. I want to tone them down a little. Okay. And then let's switch colors. This color you'll probably be able to see a little better when I do it. So we're going to we're going to clean off the plate. All right, and we're going to put this down. Now I'm going to do a light flesh. I'm going to gray it out with some light gray of this flesh tone. It's very tan flesh tone here. I don't want to really thin it out. Sorry, lighten it up, not thin it out. Said the wrong thing. There we go. Get a light flesh tone here. Okay. And now I'm going to try some of this. Again, trial and error. I don't know if this is going to work or not. Sometimes well, this might be really hard to see too. I apologize. On these, when it comes to these light colored skin color masks like this and white, it's hard to see the layers unless you're in person. Even in person, it's tricky to see. And my sponge is way too wet, so let me wring it out a little, because that's not helping. Can you even see that, Sam?
Very, very, very light.
Yeah, it's so light.
People can imagine like the spots that look a little more wet than the dry ones, or dryish looking ones.
Yeah, I'm sure that the camera's probably very hard to pick up. He's not even doing anything. What is he doing? It's just a real light flesh tone. I can actually even put a darker flesh on this. It wouldn't hurt it. Maybe we'll do that next, just to break things up.
Very, very, very slightly.
Yeah, I know, it's like a very light color, hard to see. 4K can't even see it. No. What's the latest? 8K? 8K can't even pick up this color. It's so light. Anyway, what this is doing is it's toning, it's kind of like sinking in the colors, the veins and stuff, and it's also adding like another color layer to the skin. Let me darken it a little bit for you guys, because that won't hurt to do. Let me go back a little darker here. I can just adjust the color, because that will be fine. And we'll wring the sponge out a little bit more. And then you'll probably be able to see this a little bit better. It'll give it more of a fleshy tone.
I think too, if you look at the veins, you can see the effect that it's having on those. Those used to be like super pronounced.
Yeah.
Very, very, very slightly there.
Yeah. Subtle. So this is going to give like the illusion that some of the flesh of what this creature, when he was human, was still kind of coming through in the skin a little. A little bit of the human flesh tone is just barely there. Leftovers. Now, not every color will be, this hard to see. So, there's some others that we can do. They'll show up a little bit better. But this is good. Start. Now, when you start these layers, I mean, all this sponging may look a little crazy or overly maybe doesn't look good at first, but it all come together in the end. So try not to let it bother you if it doesn't look perfect. It shouldn't look perfect right off the bat. Take time building all these layers to get it to look right. I'm just washing out my sponge here in the trash can so I don't get a bunch of paint dried up in there. All right. Clean off my plate. Okay. All right, we can even do, you know, one last little sponging here. Let's do, let's take some raw umber and a little bit of antelope brown, FW. So that's like a warm brown and a greenish brown tone. And I'm gonna thin these out. Now this color would show up pretty drastically, so we've got to be careful. So we definitely want to take it slow. This is a dark color, so it's going to pretty much be crazy on there, so you got to be careful. But this will kind of give it like a creepier, I don't know, little green to the skin, but we want to be careful with this color. Don't want to overdo it. I'm going to be very cautious with it.
It's actually funny you say that. We actually had a question from Edward Kennefic about oversponging colors. They're wondering what you would do if you suddenly found yourself, suddenly found you've oversponged a certain color.
When you get to that point, what you can do is switch back to airbrushing, and you might need to do a red or something, which I'll do here on this one. You know, you might need to just go back to some airbrushing and a different technique. You know, I mean, I try not to do a crazy amount of layers with sponging. I just do what works and what looks good, and then I stop, and then I move on back to airbrushing and other techniques to bring things out. So yeah, just, you know, 3-4 layers, and then try not to go. I mean, because if you start doing like, you know, 5, 6, 7 layers of sponging, it's just going to be too much of that. So I do find you need some dark tones though, so that you can go back in the end and bring back some light tones over that. So, you know, although this is such a pale character that, you know, the light tones are never going to show up like really crazy anyway. You know, and I haven't brought, I mean, keep in mind too, like with this mask, I don't even know if we'll get to it tonight, but like bringing out all the wrinkles and things, you know, very carefully with washes and stuff. I go in with a brush and do that. You know, there's that whole process. So, you know, you're not going to see much of that tonight either. Keep in mind that there's a lot more, and the multiple layers of the veining. So probably what I'll do is I'll finish off this mask and then post pictures of it so you guys can see the final look of what it is. And then it'll all make sense, hopefully. All right, so then there's that color on there. And we dump this. Mainly just so I don't bump into it and knock paint all over myself. Okay. And then All right, so let me show you a couple more little tricks, and then we'll break for questions. I don't even know if we'll get the artist profile tonight. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
We're running behind all the talking. So, okay. So, a couple quick things I want to do on this. Ink, damn it. No. All right. Okay, let's do this. No. I'm going to take some sepia. Is this it? No. That's burnt. What am I grabbing here? There we go. FW, sepia, some dioxine purple. And you can see I'm using all kinds of different acrylics, like FW acrylics and Goldens and my own stuff. You can say whatever you've got, you know, Tim Gore's paints, whatever you got. Use what you got in your bag of tricks, and you can make it work. You don't have to have every paint under the sun. All right, I'm going to use I use my water, so it's a purple brown, dark purple brown. I use my water. I'm going to use some alcohol. Now this is going to be like a shading type of color here, and really what I'm thinking this is for is this is a nice color to darken these ear tips a little bit. Okay. Be careful not to overspray the back of the mask. So you can start maybe here. You know, we can start over here. Let me turn it this way so the camera can see. This is a really subtle, translucent paint. Kind of went, you know what? I went a little too translucent. Here, I'll come back and darken it up a little. But let's start with this. So I get these ear tips kind of dark and creepy. Start with that. Sorry if I'm turning this like lightning fast, Sam. A little bit darker, and even darkening some around these eyes. Let me get a darker. Like I kind of thin this out too much actually. So let me remix it. Let me remix this color. Sepia, dioxine purple. And I'll use less water this time and less alcohol. And then it'll be more concentrated. There we go. So we can get a little darker ear tips here. So that purple dioxine color in there helps to keep it like on a little bit on the warmer side of things. Dark, but a warmer kind of dark tone. Get in the ear holes, start darkening in areas. Yeah. All right. Yep. All right. So, and then let's come in. Let me show you guys another little trick here. Let's come in with, let's see here. Let's try this. I'm just going to try something here. I have no idea if it'll work. We'll try it. I'll take some of this blue that I made the vein color, but I'm going to introduce some purple to it, the dioxine purple. Dioxine purple is very dark. I'm going to try to make this kind of very thin, like a dark periwinkle, I guess is the best way I can describe it. Now what I'm going to try to do, oh, I just realized my airbrush is not even set right. No wonder it was just spraying when I was pulling. All right, there we go. All right, so now what I'm going to do is something where I come in to see the intersecting veins, where the veins intersect each other, just those areas where they connect. So what I'm going to, it's like, here's a good one right here in front of the camera. This Y is connecting here and here at that spot. So I'm going to come into that spot right here. And I'm just going to darken. See that? With that purpley blue. So I'm going to go around. Now I'm not going to do every single one of these, but I'm going to look for ones that look interesting. And I'm going to darken them. And it makes it look like it's just a subtle breakup to the vein. Remember I was saying you want to break the veins up? And that helps draw your attention to those a little bit. And it makes it look like there's really some cold blood or something running through the veins. Something driving this undead vampire, keeping him alive. And if you want to do like one or two where that nasty purple runs down it a little bit, you can do that. Have it run down the vein. Just changes it from all these other veins. Breaks it up a little bit. And you can do other areas lighter. You don't have to all do them dark. Try not to do every single one, really dark or whatever. Like, try to break it up somehow. You'll even just see, like, when you look at real veins, someone will have that kind of broken capillary vein or something, and you'll just see where it goes like a little purplish or something. So you can, and it may not even be where the Y connection of the vein is. It might just be in the vein. So it's, don't worry about, like, does it make sense? If it feels right to you or looks right, like you've seen it before, chances are you probably have in somebody. So and if you want to take like that color in your brush and just start veering off with those veins, you can too. Or we can use this color. This is a good color to go ahead and darken some of the bags of the eyes here and around the eyes, It's a nice, really dark, dead, creepy color. How dark and dead it's getting around those eyes. Pretty cool. You can even hit the insides here. You can even hit the little bit of the temples if you wanted with this too. Inside the ears. You can go. You can get a lot of places with this. If you want to shade with the color, do something else with the color. So you can get away with multiple things with one color. So yeah, I'll just look for veins where they intersect a little bit, or veins I want to pronounce, somehow pronounce them a little bit more. And then do this little trick. And you can start to see how they stick out a little bit. All right, and you know, you don't want to go crazy with this, so don't get overboard. But it's a good good color to work with here and get some shading. All right, so and then I want to kind of get to one more thing to show. Just there was a question earlier, a very good question. Like, once you overdo it with stuff, how do you go back and fix? So for this guy, we've done so many layers that we really knocked a lot of that red out. So if I wanted to, we could come back and hit some really dead red, but we could even liven it up a touch if we wanted to. You know, we could come back and take our original red and put a little lighter red in just to give it some lighter tone, some more life to it. And we could, I'm gonna have to thin this with water. Let me give it a little more. All right. I'm going to thin it with water. So this is going to be a lighter red. Then our alcohol here. And one of the things that can help if you have too much sponging or layers that you don't like, it's not working, is come back with some other colors you did earlier, maybe but airbrush it this time and break it up this way. And also we can now start putting some of these red tones in the wrinkles, even just that. Like I'll show you, I'll do a little section here on one side just to kind of show you guys how much just this can help. You know, maybe we want to show some warmth in the nose or something. Yeah, see how that's already warming up a lot? Just by going into some of these wrinkles a little bit and slightly warming them up. But notice, like, I'm not spraying like super, super dark, bright red. You know, like you don't want the red to be blaring Christmas red. Keep it subtle. We can even put a little red in the bag of the eye here too. You know, I mean, you're still gonna look like a very much, you know, a dead vampire even with that red added. But keep your red tones subtle. You know, it's got some little moles which we can come back and hit with some brown over the red to tone them down a little bit. But you can already see the difference if I go from here, from this side, and I go over to here. Just that warm red is what it's done already, you know. So let's do a little more just to demonstrate. And I'm just gonna hit. some of these wrinkles here. And now because you've got all the modeling that you did earlier with sponging, you can come over top like this and model, you know, little red veins on the skin very subtly like this. And that'll just give you a whole nother layer that doesn't look like the sponging. So it doesn't have the problem of, you know, looking messy. Because I think, you know, that's kind of what happens is you do one trick too much and things get a little blotchy and messy looking and they don't look. So, you know, you got to go back and do something else. And then of course, if you have this red in, you could, you know, lay in some veins, like some red veins, like small ones in here along the side of the temple and other areas that you find it works. So, you know, that's another thing you can kind of do, you know, just to help layer it a bit more and get your eye to just start seeing all these layers working together. You know, and of course at this stage I would start like putting some life into these lips, you know, even the gums I would do. I got to clean the gums off first, but I'm not going to get into that tonight. But you know, you start putting some life in the lips and you can start to see the characters coming to life. And we might even want to put some in the ear, even though, you know, he's dead. It might not make a whole lot of sense, but we can, it'll help just to have a little warm layer modeled around in the ears and stuff like that, you know. Look like a dead, cold vampire. You can even just mist some light red. Yeah, I'll probably bring these ear tips a bit to black. Like I'll probably darken them more. Take it. So it looks like they're kind of starting to rot a little bit or something because he's getting so aged and old vampire, creepy vampire thing. His nose even, probably do a little purplish, blackish, real light spray just to rot it to match the ear tips. Like the points that get the least blood are dying off a bit, you know, like you can almost see like he'll start to go to like a skull or something fairly soon and start looking creepy. So also another trick you can do is you can come into some of these veins, these small veins, these blue ones, and you could even go over with the red a little bit, which gives a really neat look. It almost turns it purplish. So that's kind of cool too. I do it on some of the small, finer ones, you know, where you're like, oh, I want that vein to get like a little bit of purplish to it going through the skin. So you might do that too. So, you know, if I modeled this around these red little veins and this kind of breaking up pattern like this on the skin, it just gives a whole nother level to the piece. And it helps with that issue we're talking about where it gets all too much of one thing is not good. So you can start to do this. And before you know it. Now, after all this, would I go back to sponging is probably the next question. Yes. The very last thing I do is a sponging layer, but I would do a different color. I would do like a creamy white tone, actually. Very thin, creamy white tone. And what that will do is, and it'll be the very last layer I do, has to be the absolute last layer. And that'll break up the skin and give us a really nice look. But I mean, let's look at, let me do this one section and then we'll take a quick look here. I want you guys to see what's going on. And by no means is this finished, so keep that in mind. But you get the idea. Okay, that's good enough. So now look at this side here, you know. Sam can get a nice shot. And then I'm just going to kind of turn it and look at the side I haven't done. And I mean, look at the major difference. Now, a lot of the reds are going to get knocked out by the camera. Keep that in mind. The reds that you're seeing on camera, cameras always knock reds out. So just know that, you know, these reds are a little stronger in person. So you can kind of see, but you can see the difference, or you should be able to see the difference when you do this. And you can start to see that, you know, how much that's really done for the piece already. And keep in mind that there's still several more layers to do. And then, you know, the final layer, which will, the nice thing about the final layer, the sponging, the creamy white, is it settles everything and brings it all together, all the layers together. Actually, I take it back. It might not be the last layer. The last thing I would do after that is maybe like beauty marks, pimples, and other things like that you want to sit on top of the very top of the skin. Age, beauty, like age marks, beauty marks, old age spots. Those types of things would be the last thing after I sponge the last sponging layer. But that last sponging layer, what it does is it ties everything together. It makes it all work. So anyway, that's going to do it for tonight's demo. I want to get to some questions, and I apologize, guys. We didn't get a chance to do artist share. We'll do it next time. We'll hit on somebody. But let's do questions, because I'm sure there's a lot of questions, and then we can end it there for the night. So let's do this.
Sure. All right, get us back up to where we had some questions. Sorry, folks, if you guys posted a question a little earlier in the chat, I'll see if I can't find it. If not, if you can repost it one more time, that'd be really helpful.
I can look through
too. Oh, we actually have a question here from Chris Dawson. Do you ever make hands to match your masks? If so, I'd love to see what your approach to that process is. Hand forms, etc.
Oh, you know what? It's something I've rarely done, but I'm gonna grab one of these because I have a dry throat. It's something I've rarely done, actually. Sadly enough, I'm a little embarrassed to admit this, but I want to do a lot of hands. But what I want to do is I want to do them for my mask company that I'm starting up next year. We're going to do hands to go with not every mask, but we're going to do some hands that go with masks that can match up with some masks. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing some of those. To be honest, my process, I'm not going to use a human life cast, I don't think. If I'm to think this through right now, I would just build an armature, and I would do it that way. And the reason being is, I would prefer to kind of slightly pose the hand, because if you don't, if the hands are straight, they're going to look so weird. I've seen mask hands where they're posed like this, and they have no life. Yeah, you're just like this, and then when you bend them, they don't bend, they look weird. So if you just slightly give them some life like this, then when you bend them, and you wear them, if you're just relaxed like this in them, they look great no matter what, even if you're not trying to bend them or pose them. So I think I'll do that as I gasp for air right now. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing some mask hands. Wait, I gotta leave these on if I'm gonna read some of these. Did you find more questions?
Yeah, I found another one here from Britt Martin. Britt says, really, no question is dumb or newbie, Britt. Don't ever worry about asking. Always ask questions, guys. How do you keep the floor around your area clean to not track clay everywhere? I get paranoid while trying to sculpt that I'm not catching every crumb. I think they're bringing up the thing you were mentioning where it's like if you let something like wedclay or monster clay dry up, it can dust, and the dust is harmful kind of thing.
I'm going to answer that question in just 2 seconds. I went all the way back up the chat, and I see Matt Cable asked something very important I want to just hit on really quick. I'm going to answer your question. I apologize. Anyone get their magnets yet? No. And I'm sorry, because I was sick with the flu last week, guys. I was totally out, and I didn't get a chance to ship those magnets, but they are shipping this week. Okay, so moving on. The clay question. Yes, clay is a pain in the ass to clean up, especially oil-based clay that gets on the floor. You track it on your feet. You track it in your rug, your house. Pain in the butt. Wedclay, same problem. You don't want to be tracking that into your house. So one of the tricks I'm going to tell you with wedclay, oil-based clay, you're just going to have to scrape up off the ground and clean up. There's no way around that. Eric Sosa, Casey for the win. Eric, you're for the win. Thank you, buddy. Love you. With the wedclay and things like that, you can use clean sweep. You can buy clean sweep at Home Depot and put it around your area when you're done sculpting, and all those little crumbs you can just, what it does is it absorbs the dry dust and helps clean the floor at the same time. The other thing, just spray your floor really well with water and use some paper towels or rags to clean up after every time that you sculpt and on your desk, and keep those wet clay dust and crumbs down is the best thing you can do. Just clean as you go. Oh, I see it. Oliveira, he's the champ. Yes, Oliveira. So we were talking Charles Oliveira, amazing fighter from the UFC. We were talking about that earlier tonight. Yep. He's got a major fight coming up against one of the hardest opponents, I think, to beat in the UFC. I forget the guy's name. He's unbeaten. He beats everyone. He puts them to the ground, ties their legs up, submits them. He's a monster. He was trained by that other dude that
Khabib. Yeah.
Khabib.
Is it Islam?
Yeah, that guy was trained by another Russian guy, I believe, that is unbeaten in the UFC, and he uses all the same techniques, and he's just a destroyer. So good luck to Charles Oliveira, because these couple fights coming up, man, I can't pick any of them because I like both guys. Just like Israel versus who was the other guy? Israel versus whatever. Anyway, I can't pick. I'm getting off topic here. Okay, more questions. You got more, Sam?
Yeah. Oh man, where'd they go?
Sorry, guys.
Creative Critter was wondering, do you have the tip of the airbrush off all of the time?
Yes, I do. Good observation. I do keep the tip off. Why? Because now it does put your needle at risk. Don't bang it. Now a rubber mask, it's not going to bend it really. I mean, you can, but especially an Iwata needle, because they're pretty fragile. But usually not a mask, but like a resin kit. So be careful you don't bang that needle into that or your finger. But the reason I do that is you can actually get, when you get really close to spray fine veins, you can get much finer veins if you take that cone, that last cone off that protects the needle. That's why I do that, and I always just leave it like that. But I've bent a lot of needles in my time, so that gets costly. So there you go. But you can't get as fine without that. You take that off. I do it on all my airbrushes. I don't have pet peeves. I got a peeve zoo. That's funny. Awesome.
Oh, here's kind of a question from I'm not vintage, I'm grumpy.
Okay.
Casey, if you're driving in space at the speed of light and you turn on your headlights, what would happen?
What?
If you're driving in space at the speed of light and you turn on your headlights, what would happen?
Like outer space,
yeah,
or just general space, like
outer space. Speed of light, and you turn on your headlights.
What would happen?
Yeah.
Okay, close your ears, young ones. I'd shit my pants. Alexander Chen says, bad breath and crazy chicks. Oh, well, yeah, that'll do it. Let's see.
Oh, Matt McNeil is wondering, is that the stock needle in your airbrush? Any specific fine tuning that you do to an airbrush when you get one?
Good questions. Actually, they are stock needles. I only fine tune. It's not fine tuning. It's such it's not. I wouldn't call it fine tuning. But when it comes to my micron brushes, well, actually, there's a lot of airbrushes you can do this with, but mostly the microns. When you take the back piece off, this is not a micron, by the way, but when you take the back piece off, and I also use a lot of, one of my main brushes is Badger Sotar 2020s is like my main go-to brush. Right now, tonight, I'm just using an Iwata HPC S. It's just what I had on hand. But I usually use, this is like an all-around brush, not a super fine, but it gets fine enough. Just an all-around brush, but I have these Sotar 2020 Badgers, which are super fine, pretty much my main go-to. And then I have some Micron Iwatas. Now on those two brushes, under back here, this doesn't have it, but there's actually a right around here you'll find a fine adjustment that adjusts the spring in the trigger. And if you go back, it loosens it, so it makes it very soft, so that you barely have to pull back. I'll use that. That's kind of the only fine tuning I do, other than keep the brush as clean as possible.
Right, that looks like all the questions that I can find.
Is it?
Yep.
People. Oh, here's a pet peeve of mine. People that come to work sick.
Yes. Stay home. If
Don't
you're sick, stay
come
home.
to work sick and hide that you're sick.
Stay home.
That one drives me crazy. Because just stay home. Especially if you have sick hours.
Oh, we've actually, it's not a question, it's actually a suggestion from I'm Not Vintage, I'm Grumpy. Some artist spotlight suggestions for the future. Tim Gore, Nick Mara, Jim Lawrence, Jeff, I believe it's Yeager.
Jeff Yeager, yeah.
Yeager.
He's
Miles
awesome.
Teves and Teves, yeah.
Teves?
And Steve Wang. I don't think we've done Steve Wang.
No, but we have talked to Steve.
Mm.
I did talk to him last Monster Palooza, and he said he'll come on. So we will try to get with Steve. He's very busy, but we'll try to work it in. Here's one I know too that actually wants to come to the studio with us and hang out in here with us and do it is Jordu Shell. So we'll think about Jordu. I have some other artists I want to ask. Probably Eric Sosa, who's on here or was on here. I don't know if he's still on here. But yeah, I mean Tim Gore, all those guys. We'll get Tim on. You know, we'll have to. He lives somewhere else now, so we'll have to get him on through the remote. But that'd be fun. And I mean, there's a ton of artists I'd love to get on here too, guys. I mean, I just haven't got around to asking all of them yet. And then I got to schedule them, but I'll start working on that. We'll get some new guys on here, but those are great suggestions. I know every one of those guys pretty much. And there's a bunch I'm not thinking of. I'd love to get Mario Torres, who's an absolute killer sculptor from the effects industry on here. Old buddy of mine. Noah Rivers is going to come back on. I don't know when, but we've talked about it. I think the Noah thing will be more of a mask follow-up thing. I'm trying to think of other names. Let's see. Jordu would be great. Yeah, Jordu for sure. We'd love to have him on. What would you seal your... Here's a question, JP. Casey, what do you seal your masks with after you paint them? So these days, mostly varnishes, Liquitex varnishes. And you'll find like matte, gloss, high gloss, satin. So you just buy what you want. You can even intermix them. You can slightly thin them with water, but don't do too much, like just a little bit. Good suggestion. So yeah, varnishes and doling spray. Sometimes I do a little doling spray if I want the like a character like this vampire. I want his skin to be very dull against the matte. The skin to be very matte and dull against the glossy gums and teeth and eyes, so it sticks out and looks, that's really creepy. Here's a good one. Yeah, we could ask John Eubank. He's a good buddy of mine. He's a very creative painter, amazing painter. I've known John for years, good friend. He'd be great. If he wants to talk, we could talk about that. We'll have to have a special episode with John or something. Maybe where John can share some. We could get some nice photos and share some of his art, and he could talk about his paint jobs.
That'd be excellent.
Jordu, I'm sure he has got some rants to share. Yeah, Jordu.
Oh, that'd
Jordu
be great.
And I can rant all night at you guys if you want.
Listen
if you want to hear it. It'll be a fun show. Steve Wang and Jordu would be great. And I gotta think of some other guys too. And is that it? Do we have any other questions coming in? No?
Nope, that was it.
All right, guys, we got to jump off because it's after 8. I got to get going, get to the kids and everything. And I know you guys have a lot to do probably, or maybe not. But listen, I hope you enjoyed this little demo. It's just a quick demo to show you guys some of the early steps of how I start painting these kind of Barlow-y, vampire-esque paint job. I mean, it's not Barlow from Salem's Lot, but it's a Barlow-like type paint job. So it's what I had on hand, and I just wanted to show you guys that. A couple things here real quick before we sign off. I have my upcoming class. If you'd like to learn these kind of painting techniques in person at a class, please go to my website, caseylovemonsters.com. You can sign up under in-person classes. Please click the in-person only because we aren't doing any online classes yet. And good night, everybody, says Neo Kazama. Good night. And what else?
See your classes coming up.
Classes.
Join us on Facebook at Monday Night Monster
Oh, yeah.
Jam.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Facebook, Monday Night Monster Jam. You can join there. We have a big group of people that share a lot of art and hang out with us. And I got to take these glasses off while I'm looking at the camera. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, magnets are going out. I'm sorry, guys. When I got sick, it just put me out. I'm behind on shipping stuff. So magnets are on their way. I apologize to all you guys that are patiently waiting. It sucks. I hate that. And what else?
And I'd say if people are heading out, before they do, leave a like and subscribe if they haven't already.
The most important thing. Yes, please like and subscribe. If you've missed any of the other shows, check them out. They're all up there. 22 of them. This is 23.
23.
Thank you all for hanging out with us, for supporting the show. It means the world to us. So awesome. We couldn't do it without you guys. You guys are what make this happen.
Yep.
So from Sam and I, thank you so much. Have a great Monday night. We will see you next Monday. Bye.
Later on.